Hi, this is Dr. David B. Mills. Listen, I'm excited, you guys. We're about to have a great discussion and time with Kevin Kelly on The Father's Coach.
Kevin L. Kelly, your host here. I have an distinguished guest here, Dr. David B. Mills. We're going to talk about the David B. Mills. He's here today, and this man is powerful. I want to read his bio real quick. Dr. David B. Mills is a highly sought-after counselor, speaker, life coach, and pastor. He's been married to his high school sweetheart, Bernadette, for 33 years, and they have 5 adult children. He is also a very effective facilitator and trainer. I mean, I watch this guy. This guy move. He's on fire. He's a fireball. You'll see in a little while. His high energy, creative, engaging, and practical style have encouraged and empowered many people nationwide. Through his life experiences and intellectual and practical wisdom, Dr. Mills creates an environment and setting in which anyone can relate, learn, and grow. I've grown from this man too. His heart has always been for the Black family and empowering men to know that their experiences do not have to be their experiences for life, which is why he and his wife started Tailor-Made Marriages. He is the founder and pastor of Through the Word Bible Fellowship Church in Wilmington, Delaware, where he and his wife have pastored for 29 years. Dr. Mills has had the privilege of speaking on stages such as Head Start Relationships, Parents as Teachers, and at universities such as Hampton University, and is the author of over 9 books. Let's update that. He's the author of 9 books. I know that. He just told me. And Dr. Mills has an MA and Doctorate of Pastor Studies from MSU. Welcome, FCC family, Dr. David B. Mills.
Wow, I'm humbled already. All right? I mean, I'm at to find out who that guy is. But anyway, all right. But I'm appreciative and honored to be here, excited about the great work you guys are doing.
Thank you.
Y'all doing something.
You've been on my heart for a while, and I know because of the busy schedules, trying to get everybody in and get you in here. This theme today, we want to talk about mastering manhood, marriage, Masterclass. So this is going to be like a masterclass. We're going to talk about something. We're going to have fun. We're going to laugh. Sure. I mean, I like to laugh anyway.
Oh, yeah, man.
I know the producer of the show always said, sometimes bring out the Kevo. You know, I'm like, you want to bring out the Kevo too much. We got the Kevo too much.
But you got to have that.
You got to have that. Got to have that. But I want to talk about your early beginnings. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the journey. The journey about you and growing up in Chester?
Yes, sir.
Chester, Pennsylvania? Yes, let's talk about Chester.
Chester is phenomenal. I think one of the greatest things about Chester, man, is the grit, the strength, the character of a city. I think what's amazing is that, you know what, I think I've got discipline, direction, focus, dedication, and a work ethic.
From the city?
I got that from the city.
Wow.
I got that, and I really mean that. Before I met Jesus and before I got into the Word, all that kind of stuff, I got that from the city. Wow. And I think one of it was because, you know, I grew up single parent. I grew up in the projects. We was in the Bennett Home projects.
Wow.
And we was in the hood. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Our field to play in was just dirt. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We played street ball, football, all that kind of wonderful stuff. Mm-hmm. We didn't know that we were broke till later on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Wow.
Because everybody was in the same pool. Mm-hmm. But the ideal two things I think about is that one of the things I've learned was watching my mom at a single parent, man. She worked 2 jobs. For as long as I can remember. She was an aide at the school, and then she worked at a druggstore later.
I haven't heard that in a long time. Aide for the school. Moms. Let's give it up for the moms, the mothers. The mothers that's raising these Renaissance men.
Yeah.
Wow, go ahead. Continue on, please.
So with that, man, I got to watch her, man. I got to watch her get up early, you know what I mean, get me together, man, and say, hey, listen, I need you to get to school, take care of your part, do this thing, and I'm not going to be back home. Seriously, she'd be like, I'm not going to be back home, so you got to go to school, be focused, do what you got to do, and then I want you to go to Miss Clarabelle. I don't know you, but back in the day, they had babysitters, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, I remember
babysitters. And it was Big Mama's number 2,
yeah.
All right? So you ain't play with her either.
Yeah.
So
we had Miss Jean down the street.
What I'm saying, right? You know what I'm saying? But that's what we don't have so much now, is community.
Yes.
We had community. We had money, but we had community. We had integrity. We had character. Do
you think that's what's missing?
Oh, major.
Community?
That's one major part of it. Because now, you know, if you check somebody's child, it's going to be an issue. Back then, you know what I mean, you got whipped like 3 times if you did something once. You know what I mean? You did something on 3rd Street, you know what I mean? The family on 3rd Street called the people on 6th Street.
Yeah.
And by the time you got home, you got about 2 whippers on the way. So by the time you got home, they're like, Mr. Jones and Miss Thomas. I'm like, yeah, but they already got me. Yeah, but you go get it now.
I got a quick story for you. You just stirring up some stuff already, taking us off script, which is a good stuff, good thing. So I think I was 17. I just got a car. My father got me a car, right? 73 Chevrolet Impala. So I'm driving. We drive after school. I found out that the young lady that I was dating, she was going to another school in another city, that a dude slapped her. So I round up the troops. I round up the troops, Kevo mode, right? Round up the troops, and we went to the school, whatever. Some stuff went down. Somebody pushed somebody down, and somebody's mother got pushed. It was crazy. It was crazy. By the time I got back home,
Yes, sir.
the lady that I was dating, the young girl that I was dating at the time, her mother and people was in my house.
Oh, they ain't play back then.
Telling my people what was going on.
Come on, bro.
They beat me home.
Come on, bro. And they didn't even have these smartphones.
They didn't have it. They didn't have this stuff. They didn't have this stuff.
That's
But like you said, community.
Come on, man.
I didn't want my parents to meet her parents under those situations.
Right.
That type of thing. But community, like you were saying, you know.
I think it's a major piece that we are missing, man, because that held integrity of character, that held integrity of discipline. You knew that you had to give an answer. What it gave was accountability. It wasn't just community, but it really gave the byword behind it was accountability.
Accountability.
So you was accountable, I was accountable, everybody in the neighborhood was accountable to what was going on. But when you lose that, everybody does that, and we end up becoming people that don't have filters, that don't have challenges, or we're not being able to be checked by somebody, or we think it's something wrong by being concernedly loved. I'm at the point somebody either correct me or discipline, and there's neither one of them are bad words if they use the right way.
Wow. So Chester cultivated you, your character, your direction, and everything, focus and all that. And then when did you meet Miss Bernadette Mills?
That was I was a Fresh Prince of Chester for a minute. You know what I'm saying? When I was in the Bennett homes, I stayed there for the first 14 years.
Okay.
So we was there and that kind of stuff. And what I love about the neighborhood was this: poverty will make you grow in imagination. I had imagination because we had wall ball. We just made up stuff. You could give us paper men.
Wall ball. We called it off the wall.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So you had imagination. That was the other side too. That I got too, because I think those visions. And then my mom bought me the first internet. It's called the Britannica Encyclopedia.
On my book reports.
That was the first internet, bro. I don't care what nobody says. So I thought when she bought me that, I was like, the world is available.
The first internet.
And so that thing exposed me to something. I'm like, wait a minute, people live like this?
Yeah.
And so, man, I started having dreams for something else. But my mom at the same time was dealing with an older brother that I had. He was 11 years older than me. He was fast. He was gifted. He was fast. He was fly. He was everything, man. This dude was 10th grade, man. He had all the chicks, our basketball player, everything, but I ain't listening to nobody.
So wow.
So because of him, she put me on lockdown. You ain't going nowhere.
You ain't gonna be like that.
So with that process, man, she almost put it too much to confinement. So at 14, 15, man, I still had to be inside the house in the summertime. I know you remember this time, but you had to be back when the lights came on.
Lights came on.
Don't play with me, all right?
Yeah. So my mother would be calling, embarrassing me on the street.
Right, and you ain't come second call. You came first call. You got one. If I get the two calls.
But she sent the people around the corner to come get me, though.
Bruh, it's on and pop.
I know. Embarrassing everything.
But that gave us the ideal of respect for honor and authority.
Yeah.
It gave us respect for parenting. It gave us respect that, you know what, I'm accountable for what I do, and somebody's going to come and bring me in. So those things helped me in the idea of that. But then I got a little upper D at 15. Yeah, you know what I mean? She was like, okay, it's going to move with your uncle. Move you across the street, across the city. I moved over to the east side, man. And back then, it was called something.
So they moved you?
Yeah, man. My mama said, listen, you're going to go see your uncle.
Oh, wow.
What she meant was you're going to go stay with him.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So they moved me over there, and I'm like, oh, my God, this is crazy. New atmosphere, all that kind of stuff. But what I didn't know, man, was he didn't have the same discipline or rules. He didn't have the same none of that.
Yeah.
So after my mom walks out the house, I look at him, I'm like, what am I gonna do? He says, you're good. And I'm like, what you mean good? I said, he's like, just don't bring no problems in here.
That's easy.
I went from street lights to no brakes.
No breaks.
No breaks,
Wow.
bro. And when I mean no breaks, that my first weekend was a baptism into. Okay, I mean, man, look,
wow.
My cousin's friends came in. They were about 2 years older than me. They're like, yo, she's like, hey, take my cousin with you. I did not know what I was. Next thing I know, brother, I was hugging the toilet. All right.
Don't bring no problems in this house.
Bro, I went out. I got introduced to alcohol, weed, drugs, everything. And then, like I said, man, I was hugging the toilet the next day. So the next day we were supposed to go to school. I couldn't go to school because that was the first time I had a hangover.
So how did your uncle?
My uncle, he just picked me up off the toilet. Then he was like, hey, your mom called, said you going to school? I can't make it. So then she called him. He's like, he's sick.
He looked out. Okay.
But then it was like, oh my God, this is what we can do? This is how it's going wrong?
Is he?
He's like, yeah, you can. I'm like, oh my God. The brakes came off, man, but then I got introduced to the drugs, chasing chicks and all kinds of stuff. Then that really became the ideal of what I call the empty years. When I mean, the only reason I call it empty years is this.
Okay.
Everything they promised was empty. They promised me.
Who are they?
They was the partners in my neighborhood.
Okay.
All my boys, all my gang, squad. You know what I mean? We rolled about 8 deep.
Yeah.
We're brothers, but we was young. We was all in our teens. So we was all experimenting. You know what I mean? And so the challenge was for me, the first challenge was I didn't know what my uncle was doing because he confused me. Because I woke the second day, he was still there. The third day, he was still there. I had never seen that.
He was home and he was stable.
That was the first challenge for me because I was like, why are you still here? He like, I'm married. I was like, what's that? You know what I'm saying?
Please tell them that.
I was like, what's that? And he was like, no, bro, we stay. I was like, we stay? What do you mean? He said, I'm here for my family. I was like, dude, this is something different. I ain't never seen it because everybody in my neighborhood from the project, everybody had uncles. Violate mamas. But anyway, the ideal here was
Covenant.
a different mentality altogether. Now, he wasn't perfect, wasn't in Christ, wasn't nothing like that.
He still had something, right? But he still had covenant.
He knew how to stay. And so I was like, man, this is different. You hear every day? He's like, every day. I was like, oh, this is different. And so when I saw that, I said, okay, it's something different, but I ain't ready for that because I'm still young. So I'm out there hanging out, doing my thing, man. Did I get involved with a couple of gangs? So next thing I know, I'm out there on the corner. I'm hustling because I'm like everybody else hustling. And I was never hustling. But I was out there because what happens is we adapt to our environment.
Yeah.
And unless you got somebody that's there as a mentor, teacher, or a leader that can guide you to your future, you'll adapt to the culture around you. And the easiest thing to do is to submit to culture.
Yeah.
Because you don't stand out.
Right.
You just float with it.
Right.
So I just float with it. I just, they said, listen, man, I'm on the corner. My cousin got me a couple bags, so I got a couple bags. While we out here, I don't even know. I was just out here with y'all, man, because this is what we do. The next thing you know, back then, that was like 70s, 80s, and all those names started. You change your name and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Mine was Daoud in the street.
Yeah, Daoud.
Daoud.
I did Khalif.
Come on,
Kevo, of course.
Because we didn't know who we was. Yeah. We let everybody call us anything.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Didn't know our name, so we picked on somebody else's name.
All right.
Yeah.
So, man, for like 4 years, I'm Daoud. I ain't know we know what the name means.
Yeah.
All right. But anyway, the idea was it was about acceptance.
Yeah.
The drinking was about acceptance. The drugs was about acceptance. The trying to get with the chicks was about acceptance. But like everything else, if you don't know the purpose of a thing, you abuse it.
Yeah.
So I abused the drugs. I abused the drinking. I abused the alcohol. I abused the women. I abused the relationships. Why? I'm ignorant to the purpose. I didn't know you were supposed to be a wife. We were supposed to build a family.
You're right.
All you taught me was like, lust, and leave. You never taught me how to love.
And not to stay.
You didn't teach me none of that. You didn't teach me that the goal was, get married, build a family, create unity, create a destiny, leave legacy, and bring God glory. And I don't have to say it's an excuse. My excuse don't have to be anybody around me. It's my choice.
Yeah.
The Bible says in the Ideal of Excellence, he says the sins of a father can go to 3 and 4 generations. But the verse after that says this, but I'll give my mercy and grace to one man to change 1,000 generations. So either I could be the man that messed up 3 and 4 generations, or I could be the man that sets up 1,000 generations.
1,000 generations.
I get that choice. So now, man, I'm out, and it can be done in one generation, which blesses me, because I'm watching my 5 kids after me, 4 daughters, and I got 1 son. And I'm talking to them now. They're in their 20s and 30s. I'm like, yo, only one of y'all married. What's up? They're like, listen, we ain't doing nothing till we get somebody like y'all. And now remember, that's coming from a brother that ain't have it. So he ain't gonna tell me you can't produce it. It's a choice. It's the ideal of what kind of legacy you want to leave in this earth.
Yes.
And what kind of mentor. My father actually lived 8 blocks away from me with his wife.
Oh wow. Did you ever spend time with them?
Not early. Not for 22 years. I came back from the military. He called me and said, "Hey, I want to meet you."
Oh wow.
And I said, "What?" I'm like, "Hey, I'm just fresh back from the military." He said, "Well, I just want to sit down."
Did you know him face?
I thought we looked a lot like, because he was one of my uncles.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway.
Gotcha. So was that a little trauma? Was that
Yeah, because
after you came out of the military? How old were you?
bro, my trauma had started before the military. My trauma had started already with the idea of asking my dad.
Mm-hmm.
That's my trauma started.
Yeah.
Because I was looking for a picture of who I was in the culture and what it looks like to be there. And when a man does not have a picture of where I belong in the culture or in my future, I'm going to be angry.
It's that image.
Because I don't even have an identity of what it looked like. So I think I'm stuck where I'm at.
Yeah.
So until that moment happened, I was angry for a lot of those years. Because I thought, I can't be anything because I don't even know my dad. Why he reject me and all that. Little known that he ate blocks away, taking care of his family. But he's still doing his thing on the side, all this other stuff. So what happens, man, he calls me, says, my mom says, okay, meet with him. I said, for real? Now, you know how God always set you up. A week before I went to church, heard this long message about forgiveness.
Mm-hmm. So you went to church. So you got invited to church.
Matter of fact, Pastor Byrne took me.
That's before she was a pastor.
Before she was a
pastor.
And like we was friends, and she invited me to do.
And before you go to the next level with her, you got to come to church with me.
Right, she told me that too. But I was like, hey, all right, listen, I ain't even ready for all that. I was straight up seller.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Everything a seller did was everything I was doing. So by the time I came home, man, I came home on a visit before I was going to get out trying to make my decision. But my dad called, said, listen, meet me at this spot. I met him. So we sat down, talked, and we talked. And I was like, all right. But the Lord gave me that one message of forgiveness, man. And I was like, man, this is crazy. On my way to driving to meet him, man, the only thing I heard was, if you don't forgive him, your children will never know their grandfather.
Oh.
The right you got to keep that out of their lives.
And you heard that then.
I was, bro, I'm gonna start crying.
So you heard God. You heard God before you gave your heart to God.
Yeah, man.
See, God speaks. God speaks to people. God spoke to me. God showed me. I had visions and stuff. I'm talking about growing up and sitting in bars. I was hearing God. God was showing me my future if I didn't submit to Him. He talks to people before you even start going to church, before you give your life to Him. That's excellent. Thank you for sharing that to the people, because people need to know that God talks to them. He talks to them through billboards and everything, but He talked to you.
Everything.
He said that your grandchildren would not know Him unless you forgive
of their grandson.
And cool.
Okay, all right. So we got to the table. I'm like, all right. First thing I said to him, I was like, whatever you say to me, I forgive you. You know what? Now he didn't understand it. I was like, that's fine. All I know is I'm forgiven. So now I got to forgive.
That was a God thing.
Yeah, it was. So then we forgave him. Then 3 weeks later, I find out the reason he called the meeting was he had cancer. So he's about to die.
He was setting his affairs in order.
Trying to get himself right. You know what I mean? So I was like, after I found out, I said, that's still fine. It's still going right to purpose. So then after that was amazing was I met his wife, which was incredible, because he said, come to my house. I want you to be my wife. I was like, I ain't starting a problem. He's like, no, for real. And I came there. I met this woman who showed me Jesus like I ain't never seen before.
Wow.
Come on in, Dave. Sit down. You want some food? I'm like, you do know I'm the kid from outside your marriage, right? She said, who you are had nothing to do with him. I said, who are you? And what kind of God you got?
She showed you Jesus.
So we sat, ate over everything, and I'm like, at first I'm nervous. I didn't want to eat the food. I'm going to be out straight away. They're going to kill me. All right? No.
He gonna want some money.
So, but after that, man, I brought my kids down. They got to learn to pray.
Wow.
And within 2 years, he passed. Preached his funeral.
Two preachers.
Funeral.
Are you weeping?
Oh, I did. But it was a good week because I was glad that God gave me the opportunity. Here it is, to forgive him. Because, brother, whoever you don't forgive will become a frustration in your spirit and your heart. And that anger that you hold, man, was because you didn't release somebody else, so you can't be released either. So when I released him, I was released. When I was able to have, I ain't had to worry about judgment. I ain't had to worry about pain. I ain't had to worry about hatred. I wasn't angry no more. Why? Now I know what my future was. And I brought closure to that area. What was hurting me, now I actually became the agent to heal. So now it was like, now I can go now, do what he didn't do. Raise my children, love one woman, all of my life to the end of my life, to my last breath. One chick, no side joints, no sneaky links, no nothing, brother. I'm finishing with a testimony. Now, what my daddy didn't do, I will do. I'm gonna be that one. I'm gonna be him. You know, they be like, he, him. I'm gonna be him. I'm gonna be him. I'm gonna be him in the community. I'm gonna be him for my family. I'm gonna be him for the ministry. I'm gonna be him. And I think that part creates something totally different, because that's what we need in our culture. I need somebody loving one woman, raising their family, taking care of their bills, having integrity, leading their community. And I don't need a TV. I don't need a camera to do it. I just need a commitment and a covenant with God and walking this thing out. Perfect? No. But I'm trying every day to walk that thing out. Trying to be the best, man. Man, I'm gonna be better tomorrow than I am today. And it's a step-by-step process of growth. And I needed mentors, I needed teachers, I needed pastors, I needed other men around me. I didn't know, but my anger kept most men away from me.
Yeah.
So for them 21
the walls.
Yeah, man. Because I was scared to let them in, because the only man I knew left. So I was worried about if anybody else came, they was gonna leave too.
So now you became that man times 10.
That's well. I'm still working on that.
All right. So let's talk about this thing. Let's talk about this. In the beginning of the episode, I mentioned that the number. So the number in my head was 100,000.
Yeah.
I think it was earlier this year sometime when we was at TaylorMade.
Yeah.
It was 100,000, and you was like, "That's all."
Yeah.
You challenged me.
Yeah.
It's like, "That's all," and then you shared your number. Now, how many men is your goal to impact?
I want to be able to touch at least 5 million men to love 5 million women. If I do that, man, that's over 50 million people, man, blessed and strengthened. And if I just touch them, every man that has if you have a son, your son's sons will make them. If you have daughters, your daughters will make them. Why? Because they saw the character of a man. Like my daughters, they were waiting for a man with my character. They waiting for a man with my leadership. They waiting for a man with my God. They waiting for a man that loves me, loves them like I love their mama.
Yeah.
And my son is doing the same thing. He's 26, got his own business, doing his own thing, but he ain't married. I said, why you ain't married? I need somebody like my mom. I need a woman with character, integrity, with her heart, with her right spirit, that wants to build a family. I don't need a moment, Dad. I need an assignment. I want what you had. You didn't want a moment. You didn't want one night of a moment. You didn't want just satisfaction. You wanted a vision. And see, when you live for a vision, it's different, because when vision kicks in, discipline kicks in. Where there's a vision, people perish. Come on, man. But
yes, and your son had that image. Your son had that image.
Yes.
He saw his father with books, probably 7 to 8 books at that time. Then your son,
too.
And he's an author too.
Books. And he's 20, 25.
If you can do it, then your son can do it. So your son has an image of a father, of a Renaissance man. I'll use that word. I don't use it lightly.
Sure.
I don't use it lightly. A Renaissance man. You make your moves. 5 million people you're going to impact.
And it's on different levels. And I realized that if Jesus, watch this, man, without the internet, without a camera, without a podcast, without that, is reaching all these people.
Yeah, and still reaching them.
Come on, and still reaching them. Why are we putting a limit on it? So now, in the ideal, we got podcasts, we got Sunday morning, we got travel books and that kind of stuff. We got ebooks, regular books, we got all kinds of stuff we can work with. Now, you got this Facebook, you got Twitter, you got Instagram.
Yeah.
No. You got opportunities. You got nothing but opportunity around you. Now, why? If Jesus used the nets he had, why won't we use the nets we got?
Nets we got.
Come on.
No excuse.
So man, I'm going to use every one of them. So we're going to do the Facebook page for the Blueprint, Facebook page for the TaylorMade. We're going to use the ideal of the Instagram for both of them too. Got Instagrams for both of them.
And the leadership?
Come on, the leadership, we're doing that. All of the above, man. Why? Why not?
Let's talk about the blueprint. Let's talk about the blueprint. Let's talk about the blueprint.
Wow. I'm excited about the blueprint. What the blueprint does is this. I think that what happens is when you go to build something, you don't build it just out of the equipment. You have to have something putting in place that you can build it with. Either you build with brokenness or you build with the right equipment. And I think we all need a blueprint of what the end looks like before we start. And God's word actually gives me the blueprint. He says he knows, he began a thing, he knows how it's going to finish. He knows the beginning before the even end. He gave us the blueprint. Even in Genesis, when he talks about the idea who Adam is, he made that man go into the garden, creation, puts him in the garden. And I believe, Kev, that what he dropped him in the garden for was, I wanted to teach you to be a coverer and a cultivator and a king.
And name it. I want you to name it.
Come on. And what I mean by that is this. Many times in our flesh, we become conquerors. We learn how to, in the hood, I learned how to be a conqueror. In the hood, I learned how to be a consumer. But I didn't know how to cultivate. God drops Adam inside the garden so he can cultivate something. So he pours into, nurtures, covers, brings forth, covers and builds up, calls it to produce and reproduce. So when I do in the garden, when a woman comes into my life, guess what I do with her? Mm-hmm. Come on, I cover her, I nurture her, I pour into her, I build her, I strengthen her, I help her produce and reproduce her life and our life together. I gave him a garden of training for the woman. I trained him the ideal of family so he could walk out kingdom and have dominion in the earth. Dominion. So if I don't know that, I don't know it. Wow. So the blueprint, what we do is we meet the ideal of man, you know this already, with finances, relationship, and leadership, because nothing in our system gives it to us. No. How can you go from a kindergarten to a doctorate, never take a class on personal relationship, personal finances, or personal leadership?
Or even character.
None of it. Not even parenting. So all these 4 absence areas, we become ignorant to these areas, and then we starting from the beginning. When we could start further if we had a blueprint for this.
Yes.
And the blueprint for me is the word of God, man, that God will teach you how to love your wife, how to lead your children, how to be a parent, man, how to lead and all that kind of stuff. And he says, I gave you the blueprint. Now stick with the blueprint and you'll build a house. You'll build a family. You'll build a destiny and a legacy.
Let me share something about the blueprint. So I'm driving down from Dover, going up to Wilmington, going to the Wilmington Library, public library, and that's the blueprint. They got everything set. They got the speakers, everything. You go there, hot breakfast. I mean, everything. They got the waffles. They got the grits. They got the turkey sausage. I think they had some pork sausage there.
Yes, sir.
They had beef sausage. They had everything there. Once they feed the men that come from all different places, then they have the speakers talk about finances, talk about leadership, tell you how to date your wife.
Yeah.
How to date your wife. And then not only that, they tell you how to places to go to date your wife.
Everything.
That you don't cornball, just go to the movies or whatever.
Yeah.
You know,
no, so much more.
The blueprint becomes a breakfast, but it's like a brunch for men. They take care of us, and then once they take care of us, then they feed you naturally and spiritually. And I love it. And you even have a book. So can you share your favorite chapter out of the blueprint?
Wow.
Or the favorite concept.
The favorite. That's
your favorite.
That's kind of hard.
All of us your favorite, right? but give our readers something.
But what we do is in the idea of the blueprint is that with one we meet quarterly in the idea of the in person, so we pour into that. So we make sure that we get together as men, because one of the things that men needs is relationship. We need other men around us, and we need men that have been married 5, 10, 15, 30, 40, 50 years to realize that I got a picture of this because I've seen it before. Then also the idea of building those other places. Now the idea of the favorite chapter, you got me on that, bro. Because I mean, what we try to do is help you literally that you can take the blueprint, and it's an ebook too now, so you can actually download it on your phone. And it's because it's 12 chapters. You literally could take a chapter a month and love your wife. How to love her physically, how to love her sexually, how to love her mentally, how to love her spiritually, how to love her verbally, how to love her financially. And you can take this all the way through. We give you the blueprint. You ain't got to think. You just pick it up, open it up, and work that thing for the month. Well, man, you change your whole life, man. That chick will chase you around the house, brother. I'm just trying to help you, man. I'm trying to give you the tools that are excellent. I'm talking about somebody's been married almost 34 years, and we still, listen, she my wife for my life, my girl for my world, my best friend to the end. I'm trying to tell you. And listen, man, that girl, and listen, we walked this thing out. Not that we had it. What I love is that you get the blueprint. It don't mean that I didn't come from a good marriage. I didn't even come from a marriage, but my kids do. My destiny do. My grandchildren will. Man, listen, all that kind of stuff, man, is that we can be those kind of men that literally become what President Barack said. He said, listen, you the answer. So I was looking for it somewhere else. God said, no, I'm going to develop you. Now I'm going to help you be the answer. I'm going to be you the one you've been looking for. Wow. I was looking for a man that would lead, that would guide, that would cover his wife, lead his children, change his community, and impact everything around him. And God was like, you the one. I'm like, doggone, you're right. All right, let's go do this. Give me the grace. Give me the wisdom. Then give me other partners like yourself. Yep. Give me other people. Yes. And that's when he opens up those doors, when we're ready for it. And when we become to a place of manhood that I'm ready for humility. Yeah. That I don't mind humbling myself to learn. I'm learning from you today. I'm learning about the systems. I'm learning about the podcast. I'm learning from you. And the more I learn, the more I can grow. Yeah. Because I think in life, man, if a man really has a good success, your legacy is not the money you left. It will be the love you left. It will be who did you lift? Who did you lose? Who did you lead?
He took what he's saying right now, so powerful. He took the blueprint and tailor-made marriages, not only just here on the East Coast, but he took it down south, down to the Outer Banks.
Yeah.
And he also took it to London. Yeah. What y'all do in London?
London, man, we went over there, had an opportunity, man, to go with my wife. Every year it takes a trip out to another country. So we went out there, we was doing some work over there, ended up doing some marriage stuff over there. Pouring into people and helping them and encouraging them. So then they got online. So now we do counseling from people around London, around the world, that kind of stuff. Because I think the wonderful side is about reminds us that, if you a counselor, man, you got safety.
You got safety.
And so there's something.
The multitude of counselors, there's safety.
Because for us as men, man, I try to encourage my brothers, because if I can grow up with emotional incarceration, with verbal constipation, a lack of discipline, but God saved me and gave me a vision of something different. That can happen for you. That can happen for every man that's around us, man. If I can help give you the tools, and the blueprint gives you that. It gives you what to do, how to do it, the way to do it. You ain't got to guess. And then we also just got finished a new ebook. It's called From Malehood to Manhood.
Let's talk about that.
Oh,
let's talk about that. Let's talk about that, please. So let's talk about that. But before we talk about
sure.
There's something about, you said you didn't have the image, you didn't have the blueprint, then you have the blueprint, but now your kids have the blueprint of a father, of a man, of a Renaissance man, of an author. They have that image, but you also providing images for other men, other grown men. So me being a grown man, I've been married, this year will be 20, this year 27, next year will be 28 years.
Yes.
28 years married, right? But you're still adding on, you're still teaching us. Every man, we're still getting sharper.
Yes, sir.
We're all still being sharper. I'm still growing. We're all still growing.
I'm still becoming the best version of who I am.
The best version.
I'm going to be a bad somebody in like 5 years. I'm trying to tell you, you think bad something now.
Kevin 5.0.
Come on, bro. You know what I'm saying? Why stop growing? Yeah. Why stop learning? Yeah. And I think the wonderful side of it is that the Bible says, this one crazy verse that says that your love can grow more and more abundantly, which means we can grow more and more abundantly. There is no limit. There's no limit on what we can do. I tell brothers all the time, your issue with earning is your issue with learning. Mm-hmm. Whatever you learn, if you learn a category, you can earn from that category. So if I learn how to write books, I'm gonna earn from writing books. Come on, man.
It's funny you said that about writing books. A dude, before I wrote my first book, this dude helped me. I paid him. Mm-hmm. I paid him $100 for him to teach me how to do an ebook, right? And then he taught me how to do it. Not an ebook, a book.
Yeah.
Yeah. He taught me. I paid him $100. He taught me how to do that. So 2 years later, I'm 5 books in.
Come on.
Now he's asking me for advice. He's asking me for advice as an author. I was like, oh my God, he's the one that taught me. I was like, wow, that's amazing becoming the image and growing and doing all those kind of things. I share with my father sometimes. I said, the more he can do, this was when I first moved down to Delaware from New York, working down from Jersey and New York and all that. I said, the more you do that is the more I can do.
Come on.
Now, the more that you're doing is the more all of us can do.
That's the goal.
We're sharpening one another. It's going. You already increased my goal for impact. But still, I think after tonight, I'm going to revisit that 500,000. I may even go to 1 million because I'm still growing. I'm scared and timid because I know it's going to be a lot of work. There's still other stuff I got to finish publishing and everything. Yeah. But that's the impact that we're making.
Yeah, and I celebrate you first of all, man, for the 5 books. Let me just say that. And then I'm gonna celebrate you too, man, for stepping out into this place of podcasting, because there are avenues that other people won't go, that somebody has to go. Mm-hmm. Because this has now become one of the greatest places where people get their information, their wisdom, their direction, their hope, their strength. And if you wasn't in this space, who would get it? Come on, man. And I wish you was around before I got married. So I need somebody that got a picture of a father coach. My dad wasn't there, remember, man. So if I was able to go to YouTube and be like, teach me how to father. All right. But I had it. Wow. So I made some accidents and I made some mistakes, man, on the process because I just didn't know. Because I didn't know what empathy was, man. Because I didn't have it. Like I said, my mom was tough, but she wasn't loving in that way. So, but I had to learn, man. The first time my daughter fell, man, I was like, I gotta grab her. Oh my God. But I had to be like, learn that. I had to learn the empathy. I had to learn sincerity in that process, humility in those places, man. Yes. When I'm wrong, to be able to say, hey, listen, babe, I'm sorry.
I did that to my daughter.
Apologize back.
I yelled at her, and I was right in what I correcting her, but I had to learn how to connect. And then I had to learn how to make sure that my tone was a little off. So I went to her later on. I was like, babe, I'm sorry. I said, will you forgive me from the way I talk to you? And she was like, I forgive you, Daddy. I was like, bet. That was like, it's years back. And I was like,
Here's the wonderful side.
I don't want to damage her with that kind of stuff.
No. Matter of fact, what you probably did was opened her up to the ideal for her husband. Hear me, bro. You see that?
Yeah.
As we get the picture of if a man can humble himself even to a child, man, eventually then when I get a man and if he blows it, I know how to forgive. Why? I did it for my father already. Yeah. I already gave him empathy, so now I can give another man I love empathy because I already gave a man that I love empathy. I already gave a man I love forgiveness.
Yes.
But when you're out of that picture, I've never given or never seen a man be forgiven or be empathized with.
If there's no reference.
Come on, we got a culture, man, it's somewhere between 52 and 62% single parent, which means 62 of the women in this nation and 62% of the males in this nation have never seen that level of empathy or unity or oneness or vulnerability or transparency. That's why they're angry.
Or coming together or building. Coming together and building. That's something that I do with my business, Life by Design coaching firm. We do life management plans for everybody. Life management. And we actually do it now, third and fourth quarter, so people can start looking at the next year. But also, I've been trying to stretch the people, even like some of the clients, whatever. Not just look for this year, look for the next 5 years.
Yes,
also look for the next decade type of thing. Started thinking, but that's singularly. Yeah. But now, if you're coming together as one, how about a family life management plan?
Oh, man.
A family management plan. So then your vision and her vision can come together. So if you can come together, you come together in marriage, come together, get married. So that's a covenant. So God can bless you. Get together, get married, so God can bless you, and then have a vision. I'm tell you what, if a man don't have a vision, no, wait a minute, let's put it this way. When a man gets a vision and he shares it with his wife, he's hitting a home run. You're talking about the nights will be really nice because she's like, oh my God, I'm sleeping next to a man who got vision. It's gonna be some warm nights.
She's designed to be a helper, but you ain't got no vision. She can't help.
She can't help.
Loses purpose.
Help.
She can't. Right. So she don't have a purpose. She's what we doing? That's what becomes the question. Where are we going?
Just going to work.
You got to ask questions because you ain't got a vision. But if you give a vision, you ain't got questions. Now you got participation, and you find out what's her gifts, her talents, where they fit my gifts. It's like myself. I had to learn that too. Because I grew up in that single parent, and I went to military and that kind of stuff. But by the time the Lord got hold of me, he's understanding that. Listen, bro, you got to build her too. And you got to find out where her gifts, talents, anointing, gifting, calling fits in your purpose.
So he was allowing you to see her through his eyes.
Right. And here's my problem. Most of us are sending our woman to build somebody else's vision. Whoop. Anyway.
Boom, 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 boom. Let's do this manhood. That was good. That's the book. The manhood. Manhood to...
Malehood to manhood.
Malehood to manhood.
Because we come here as male.
Yeah.
But we don't come here as men. And there's a difference between that.
So as the manhood develop, is the man develop?
It takes growth, work, and effort. Okay. And it takes all that in process. But I think the ideal of it is people think that you can just grow into something. No, you can physically grow into something. That don't mean maturely, mentally, emotionally, relationally. You might not be as mature as you think. So the process takes some time. And I think it's like 8 stages. I think we go from malehood to boyhood, from boyhood to childhood, from childhood to young man to manhood, from manhood to husband, and from husband to father, from father to a man as granddad. All right, the ideal here, though, is we many times hurt our culture because we're trying to get to a place by skipping steps. So I want to be a father, but I ain't a husband. So that child don't even know who's raising him.
You're not even a man yet.
Come on, I don't.
Responsibilities?
Come on, because boys do I's, but men do T's. Responsibility, accountability, loyalty, humility. We do the T's. Boys do I. It's about me. We doing it for the moment, but men do it for the assignment. Boys do it for satisfaction, but men do it for a vision. It's a whole different mindset to be a man. But I need men to help me understand that. Because this ain't going to be in the locker room. This ain't going to be in the barbershop. This ain't going to be on the corner of 3rd, 4th Street, whatever you want to call it. They ain't doing this. They're not doing this. So they're going to teach you how to destroy something you should have been building. That's why they're out there smashing. Why? Because what Herb puts it this way, we abuse each other. We're not building each other. So we literally got to become the men that can build a family, build our community, build our cities. But it begins with me being willing to be built myself. And I got to get people around me that I allow to build it.
Yeah. You're talking about building cities and towns or whatever. My vision always to have we do things in other countries, kind of give and adopt and sponsor children, stuff like that. But also have a vision to like you said, like build a city somehow. Cities are already there, but also like kind of build it, whether it's housing or community or just some kind of, not just a faith churches. I ain't talking about just churches. I'm talking about just building a city inside of a city.
Yeah.
But we have to have that vision.
Yes, sir.
And you're talking about the blueprint. All these things is for building legacy, building and creating and establishing. That's the thing. That's the way I was trying to get to. So we're talking about establishing. So there's a lot of people who do things. We go after the bag, go after the money, go after the bag, right? But you're not establishing anything. Not establishing anything.
If you get the bag, what you gonna do with it?
Exactly. We're gonna floss with it. You're gonna splurge it. You're gonna get everything.
Nobody is blessed.
Nothing established.
This is the worth of it.
Right.
What's the worth of it? And then if it's gone in one generation,
it was a waste. You gotta look at you like, I gave you the money. What you just do with it?
right? And that's where I think the ideal of integrity, relationships, and all those partnerships come into play. Because if I get it, now I need people that are great at what I'm not. But I gotta have humility to know this. I gotta have, that integrity to be able to handle it. Did you get it? But how long will it be in your family?
That humility, that thing right here that says the art of mentoring. I had to submit, even as an adult, I have to continue to submit myself. So when I submitted to a man outside of my father, outside of the church, 2003 was a business mentor.
Sure.
He was a spiritual man too. So, well, he was teaching me how to look outside of myself, how to have vision. And not just go to work, come home, go to church, stuff like that. No, he was like, listen, you got to think outside of that.
Oh, man.
So I was with him on every Tuesday for a year and a half.
I love it.
And he was teaching me. And out of that came out of one of the books that I did years later, many years later. But that man is still in my life, that we still keep in contact and stuff like that. But he gave me vision and image outside of my parents and grandparents and uncles and stuff like that. He was like, yeah, look outside of that.
Yeah, man.
You got to look outside of that.
But that's
and the blueprint, what you're saying is so... That always resonated with me. I got the book, and I go to your blueprint. You also got a podcast.
Yes, sir. We just started the podcast, The Blueprint, and so we're doing the same thing on that. So about every other week, we release an episode of helping talking. We talk with leaders or business owners or people from the community and culture to be able to say, hey, give us some help in this manhood thing. Give us a conversation. And what I like about it right now, we're doing it on every different level. So we got our millennials in there. We talk with, maybe rock with a couple of them to help them share what's going on with their world. But then also Generation X, Gen Z, everybody's in there. So we pull them in so they can see that, I want to communicate. I want to communicate with your generation. And I want it to be intergenerational. And I think that's where sometimes we miss the gap. We're supposed to keep the generations together, not push them away from me.
You gotta do the handshake.
Yeah, man, yeah. And so I think we lost some of those things in the ideal of being able to. I think we got to be able to love the people that are over us, but love the people behind us too at the same time.
There was something that you did. There was something that you did at the last blueprint.
Yeah.
At the table that we sat at, you invited me to your table. So I sat at your table, and there was an older man that impacted some of the other people at the table many years ago. Like maybe 30 or 40 years ago, he impacted one of the guys there. And so you was able to get all these different generations in one room for a blueprint.
Yeah. And what I'm thankful for is that there's a safe place.
Yeah.
That I think men need a safe place.
Yeah.
We need
to cry.
We need to cry, to learn, to laugh, to love, and be like, hey.
Do the push-ups. We're doing all the pushouts.
We're going to laugh. We're going to have a good time, man. We're going to hit some good grub, good feed. We're going to get some insight about how to do this thing called life. I think the challenge is, somebody told me a long time ago they was mad at church because they didn't teach me how to do life. I'm like, they didn't teach you how to do life. They said, no, we told me to go to church, but they didn't tell me how to do.
Yeah.
And so my goal, man, is while we doing this thing called church, while we are the church, now I'm gonna show you my life. I want my life to preach better than my sermons. I want, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I get to preach one time a week, and but I preach in other 6 days. My life is my sermon.
Right.
How to love my wife, how to raise your kids, this is gonna be my longest sermon. You know what I'm saying? Jesus went to church on Sundays. He lived it on the rest of the days. Mm-hmm. So the rest of the days, I want you to be able to eat off of my life. Mm-hmm. How did you raise these 5 kids?
Yes.
How did you from the hood put 5 kids in college?
How do you have multiple streams of income?
You know now? But anyway, the grace of God to have the faith to do it. To say, you know what, I want something better for my children, to build a season in their life and whatever foundation I can put in them, because now they become arrows into generations I won't go in. Come on, man. So now there's going to be 5 of me.
Legacy.
Are you hearing me? There's going to be 5 of me when I'm gone. 5 of them. So, man, we started that stuff, man, like, man, they was babies. I was talking to them in their mama's belly. Now, we got finished doing that, man. Before they went to first grade, man, they had timetables, mathematician. They had multiplication. They had division. Then they went to preschool. Why? I'm the foundation, not the education system.
That's what I'm talking about.
So my kids went in there, boom. They were like, what? They were like ABC, EFGHIJKLMNOP. You want me to spell my name, my backwards? What you want me to write in cursive? Because my dad just showed me.
There was a story about your son going to a school and, he superseded them. And so,
we
can you tell us a story?
We put him in. We did the foundation stuff, and then after we did the foundation with him, put him in school. We had a small Christian school we put him in, and they were there for like the first 2 years. And then we brought him. We moved to Delaware. When we moved to Delaware, we put him in Delaware system in the public school. I won't say the name of the school. I'm just gonna say what happened. Right? I won't say the name. I'm trying to be good. Okay. But we put him in school. They literally said to him, they said, Mr. Mills, your son has ADHD. I said, my son does not have ADHD. They said, yes, he does. I said, no, he doesn't. So I said, okay, I'll tell you what. Let me take him out to school for the day. They said, all right, you're gonna do. I said, I'm gonna bring him back tomorrow. So I took my son out of the public school, drove over to Friends Central. This was like 30 years ago. And the tuition rate was crazy even back then. But anyway, but I said, listen, can he take an administration test? They said, yes. We took the test. He was eating pizza, throwing a ball up and down up on the thing. The lady said to me, your son does not pay attention. I said, did you check the test? She said, what? I said, check the test. She said, he aced it. I said, so now let me tell you this. You're a private school, but my son just aced your test while he's singing a song, throwing a ball. You think he has ADHD? She said, yep. Can we?
He's a genius.
Can we give your son scholarship to come to our school? I said, I need you to write that down on a piece of paper so I can just have a view of it. Really, I wanted to bring it back to the public school.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
They wrote it down. Excellent kid, incredible in his observation, insight. We think he might even be a genius. So we went back to the public school. I said, what you think? They said, okay, well, we got to do something called diversification learning. I said, thank you. So literally, that he had part of his day, he was in first grade. He had to go to fourth grade for English. He had to go to fifth grade for math.
Look at it.
But they would have labeled him ADHD.
Without a father in his life.
Come on, man.
That's the purpose of a dad.
Come on, man.
That's the purpose of dads. That's the purpose of dads. We're there. Not no uncles, no daddy.
No, me. This is my job.
Wow, we're gonna shift into another segment that I call the 24-second clock segment.
Okay.
And you're gonna have 24 seconds to answer these questions.
Wow. Okay.
They're pretty. It's not bad. I'm not gonna throw it up there. You know, who's the president of the United States?
Who's the president of the United States right now? Joe Biden.
Okay. What's your wife's favorite color?
Orange and pink.
Who impacted your life the most?
Jesus.
What is the best city you lived in?
Best city I lived in. You make me think now, man. Best city I lived in was, it's got to be Newcastle, because I'm my family there, honestly.
What is the best city you never lived in?
Best city I never lived in would have to be New York.
Now, after this podcast, how many people do you intend to impact with your life's message?
Might have to change it to 10 million.
You heard it first. I'd like to thank Dr. David B. Mills. What's the B stand for?
Bernard.
David Bernard. All right.
Yeah, my grandfather.
You should get clothes. You should get a clothing line. David Bernard.
I like that. I'm going to have to revisit that, man. I like that.
Fly anyway.
Hey, I'm trying, brother. I'm trying to represent for our season.
You represent good. You represent good.
I want the brothers that, you know what? You remember when we used to be in the neighborhood when we was young? You knew when the men walked in.
Yeah. Even in barbershops.
You feel me? Because you know when the boys came in, but when the men came in, you were like, no, don't mess with that one.
Cologne. They wore cologne and aftershave.
Them hard shoes.
Yep. And
come on, man. Stacey Adams, bro.
Yeah.
They came in, bro. You ain't messing with. That's a man.
Clothes.
There's a difference.
Clothes ironed.
Yeah, there's a difference. I'm just trying to send a signal to the culture, brother.
So before we log off, right?
Yes, sir.
What I want you to leave us some lasting words. I want you to pray too, but leave us some lasting words for the FCC family.
Wow.
What do you think can impact our lives as men? Or give us a charge.
Ooh.
And then pray for me or pray for me.
Sure, you got it.
Yeah.
For a charge, I would say this, man. Don't think that you can't become what it is that God put in your spirit and your heart. God has designed you in his image and his likeness. And when he gives you vision and dreams, he gives you also the grace and faith to fulfill every one of them. My prayer for you, man, is to get around some brothers that can help you, encourage you, and strengthen you. Put yourself in a place of accountability and authority and humility and walk this thing out. You don't have to do life by yourself. I'm trying to tell you, man, God has some incredible things for you. They help me to come in relationship stuff. Relationships are key, man, to pull you to the next season and steps of your life. The stronger the men you put around you, the stronger future you're going to have in your life. Humble yourself, man. Allow God to take you to those places. Get into a church, get into relationships, partnerships, business, and whatever those things. But get around people that have your solution, not your problem. Get around men that have your character, that has the future, that has the integrity, that has the purpose in their life already. Not potential. I'm not saying potential. Get around the brothers that are fruitful. They're already producing it. They already got it. I'm getting around brothers that's been married 50 years, 60 years. Why? I'm only 30. I want to know what it took to get there. Because listen, you're going to hit some seasons that some of us never been in. So I need to ask questions of some brothers around me that have made it through that season. I charge you, man, get another brother, get a leader, get a mentor, and get somebody for your future. Father, we pray even now in the name of Jesus, you created men in your image and in your likeness. I pray that every man that hears the sounds of our voice, that they would be encouraged to be the great men that you called them to be. You designed them for kingdom. You designed them to be leaders. You designed them to be husbands, designed them to be fathers. They can do this by your grace. They got the blueprint of your word, the blueprint of your spirit, oh God, and you can do it, Father God. And even today, I want to thank you for the grace of having a father's coach, God. Mm-hmm. God, we need coaches in this season to help us. Where those fathers might have been absent, you sent a coach into our lives. Thank you for this coach that will help our lives and cause us to be able to win, move forward, and grow as the men you call us to be. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. We'd like to thank Dr. David Bernard for coming to this podcast and gracing us with the blueprint, with the malehood to manhood, with his life, with his heart, with his marriage. This was a masterclass. So we thank you for tuning in. We ask everyone to like, to share, to subscribe to the Father's Coach podcast on YouTube. We'll see you again. Thank you.